Cantabrians were already on edge when yet another earthquake struck in February. The physical damage is extensive, but what's not as easy to see is the impact this has had on the minds of people here.
We are witnessing the havoc caused by a violent and ruthless act of nature.
And the Prime Minister has now declared a national state of emergency.
I like to be able to anticipate, I like to be able to predict what's going to happen and therefore control it, but you can't.
I hate the sound of an earthquake. It's like four big, huge Mack trucks driving past, that sort of rumble sound.
We have had, oh, there's a shake.
The day of the February 22nd earthquake, everything fundamental to life here in Christchurch changed. It doesn't matter how much or how little people have lost, everyone in the city is affected. The constant aftershocks have people on edge. No one is sure if the worst has happened. It's the psychological impact this quake has had that is so worrying. As they rebuild, people need to acknowledge and figure out how best to support one another in the months to come. Superficially, the Nye family is lucky. Their house is still standing. But like all Cantabrians, their lives have dramatically changed. Plastic surgeon Barnaby had just finished operating when the February 22nd quake struck. His wife Stephanie was at home. Their four boys, Elliot, Thomas, Christopher and Edward, were at school. On the surface, this family seems okay, but each has been psychologically affected in their own way.
I was out at Burwood Hospital, just getting into my car to come back into town, when the car just started bouncing around. And after I leapt out of the car and made sure that people were okay and the patients I'd just finished operating on were okay in recovery, my next thought was the kids all over town at different schools. And it took me an hour to get 3 kilometres to get Christopher here from his school. And he was in tears.
I think what I remember from just a few minutes after is Tom and a lot of the people in our school saying, "Are my parents alive? Are they dead? Are they okay?" And you just don't know. The drama theatre at our school has a big sweeping staircase that goes up, and our class of boys was just all on that staircase when the earthquake hit, and just 25 boys fell down the stairs.
It's had a lot bigger effect on you, this one, hasn't it?
Because I was at school this time, not near Mum and Dad, so I had no idea what happened to them, if they were okay, if Elliot and Tom were okay, if Eddie was okay. So I was just worrying about them. I wasn't worrying about me that much.
You wouldn't expect this to happen in real life somewhere, because I wouldn't expect it in Christchurch.
I thought somebody shook the house. But I told Mum that I thought it was a giant shaking the house.
I ran outside to get away from the house because it sounded like it was going to collapse. The air instantly was just filled with screaming of children from the local schools. I ran down to where Edward was. The teacher had kept the children in the classroom because of the lights had fallen out of the ceiling, and I think there was arcing of electricity, and you're looking at 6 and 7-year-olds grabbing each other and trembling with fear and fright. There were mothers running down the road towards me, and one of the mothers said, "Are they all right? Are they all right?" And I looked back and stupidly said, "No, they're not." And she said, "What
Ooh. Fraser, it's okay. Come on.
Fraser,
Come on,
come
Fraser.
here, darling. It's
Come
okay.
on.
Fraser,
Just
come.
a small one.
Fraser, come.
We're all quake experts, and that was about a 3.3. I'm angry that having spent 20 years of my life working very hard to build a good life for my family, that has been taken away. And in saying that, I instantly feel guilty that I feel like that when my family are all well, when my house is largely intact.
The boys are too scared to sleep upstairs in their bedrooms, so in this space down here, we've got 6 people, and the dog generally right on top of us because he's too scared to go anywhere else. All sleeping in a space because nobody wants to be without anybody else. The boys already know that 2 of the dads at their school have died in the quake.
You don't value your stuff in the same way that you did, even if you said it wasn't important before, you really don't value it to the same degree.
Concern about the boys' emotional state is splitting the family.
Have you got a sweatshirt? Uh-huh.
Stephanie's heading to Auckland today, but the hospital needs Barnaby to stay.
What we want to do is to get the kids back to normality as quickly as possible. And I think in the next couple of weeks, with the sort of a degree of disruption to the infrastructure, that it's easier if they're not here, that they're somewhere where there is hot water and sewerage.
I think Christopher must have asked me
10 times.
10 times. Well,
10 times in a day.
10 times a day. Mum, can we leave? Mum, can we get out?
Biggest smile we had was
Smile.
when we told him he was going to Auckland. It's just nice to go somewhere where it's predictable and normal, and you can be a kid.
You can sleep.
And you can sleep.
With no dogs barking in the night.
That's right.
Shock is a big issue among a lot of people in the city. As they've been able to, they've been taking people who can be moved and moving them out into the province, in some cases to other parts of New Zealand.
We've spent 3 days on the ground and felt dozens of small tremors. Cantabrians have braved hundreds. The anxiety levels are mounting with each shake. When it quakes, no one can predict the level of threat. Everyone is constantly braced and on edge. Clinical psychologist John Dugdale has a practice in the Christchurch CBD.
Well, I was sitting at my desk and just thinking about, I was about due to see some people for the afternoon, and there was a bit of a jiggle, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Then the drawers of the filing cabinet flew open. We came out on the street and there was dust at each end, and there was people just coming out and standing and just looking and trying to make sense of what had happened. There's about 4 phases that people go through in adjusting to it. The first phase, usually a fairly brief one, and at that stage people either are quite stunned or they become really activated, like a headless chook racing around, trying to take on board what's happened. Then we get into the period of turmoil, and that's where the emotions kick in. And people might find themselves very tearful or very anxious or very angry or a whole range of things. It's a bit of a roller coaster. Our arousal level is up, and we have been quite wired, and so you'll find that people have an enhanced startle response. If there's a bit of a loud noise, they'll jump in a way that they wouldn't have previously. Then people get into the third stage, which is mobilising resources. That stage of mobilising, we actually start to take control and be effective. And that might last a few weeks or something like that. And then the fourth stage is actually rebuilding, and that can take a lifetime. I mean, I think it's fair to say that all of us who are here will be affected for the rest of our lives in some way.
This guy's been shoveling for 4 days, not only at his house, but at his neighbours'. It's part of a deep need to get back to normal.
Everything's changed, like all the facilities aren't there anymore. I just get on with it, just carry on. Just keep busy, and you don't, if you're just sitting around, you might be thinking about things, and if you just carry on working, you seem to cope, or I tend to cope better if I'm busy. You got to think about it later. But me and my family, we all come out of it pretty well, so we're lucky. No one's got injured or hurt. Both houses are still standing, so it's good. But yeah, it's going to take a while for things to get back to normal. So I think we're just going to be busy for how long it takes.
Some people might not be able to read their own emotions. How do we look out for others?
The first thing is to activate the social support. One of the things we know is that when there's really stressful times, people talking to people and relating to people really helps to reduce the long-term consequences. And again, the people I would worry about are the ones that would withdraw. And the thing I would be encouraging people and families and friends to look for in their loved ones is change. Because if they are behaving or showing different emotions, there's something driving that. I often would see clients who would come to me and say, I shouldn't be here, I've really got nothing to worry about because there's somebody out there that's worse off. And I keep saying to them, look, if you have an accident and you lose 2 legs, and I have an accident and I only lose 1, does that mean I haven't got a problem? Sure, there are almost always people worse off than us, but it is still legitimate to deal with the traumas and the difficulties that we have.
Saskia and Stuart Hargraves live in the Sumner area, but without power and water in their own home, they're taking shelter with friends across town.
So we're just coming down Ferry Road, and we're going through a lot of liquefaction. Oh, liquefaction.
They're taking us to their neighbourhood on the severely damaged hills southeast of the city.
Mitre 10's not going to be open.
No, Mitre 10's not open, Countdown's not open. Everything's closed. Can we just look back onto this hill here? Can we just photograph up this hill up behind us here? Yeah, all along there, those are all houses, they're all just got to go. Our personal friends live in those houses.
There are 3 or 4 homes that you'll see that are being severely munted, and it's a awful word to use, but that's just the...
This one here's got a red sticker.
Yes. Look at the size of the... even that size of that rock there, God, that comes down and rocks on the side of the road. Probably fitting of just people just completely stunned and numb, I reckon, just looking at people walking along the roads and young families, the families that had opted to stay, just sort of trying to think that they can carry on as normal, but just looking, you see look in their faces and you can just see that it's not going to be normal here for a long time. Hey guys.
You guys all right?
You went right, you?
Yes,
yeah.
To a degree, thank you.
They were told their home was over-engineered, but it's one of the few standing on this hill.
Here we are, guys.
They're pleased it's safe to live in.